Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching today's Western U.S. Regional Forecast video brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, one thing's for sure, as we get into the month of April, we typically think about this being the end of our wet season. Generally the wet season is defined as October through April, but when we look across the Pacific Ocean and see storm systems lined up like this, it makes us think twice about how soon that wetter weather is going to end. I've been stressing in several of our recent videos about the strength of the Pacific jet stream, so I've got an animation here that kind of shows you the really fast winds that are tucked away right now on Tuesday that are kind of here just south of the Aleutian Islands and north and west of Hawaii. Well, those winds are going to be blasting across the Pacific Ocean such that by the end of the week, they're going to look something like this. And that is a pretty powerful jet stream here. Winds about 6 miles above our heads, plowing across the Pacific Ocean. And this is the pattern breakdown that we've been discussing, the one that eliminated that high over low pattern, which was dominated by a ridge sitting over Alaska. And now the flow is really coming into the west coast, which means we're going to have a relatively stormy and wet next 7 to 10 days because of this jet stream pattern. When we kind of look to where that moisture is coming from, we can start off this animation here of precipitable water. So this is basically the European model pulling out how much moisture is in the atmosphere to be precipitated. So we're looking for the red colors. Those indicate where the atmosphere is really juicy and kind of loaded. And currently the system that's coming on shore here, you can see that we've got quite a bit of moisture already in the air, and that's why spreading across parts of California, Nevada, and getting into southern Oregon, we've already seen quite a bit of early morning rainfall here on Tuesday. But let's watch to see how that jet stream, as it elongates, really brings in the moisture. So as I kind of played this out through the week, we see system number one, there it is. This is Tuesday into Wednesday moving across the country here. But look, by the time I get into Thursday, and then into Friday, look at the large push of moisture. See it streaming all the way from just north of Hawaii here, just plowing into the west coast of the United States, really taking aim on the northern half of California. But much of this moisture extending into the Pacific Northwest and across the Intermountain West. So that big pulse pushes through. Then look at this. By the time we get into Saturday evening, there comes the next big push. This is a nice river of moisture that's moving in, especially taking aim here on Northern California. And that one that comes in on Saturday lasts through Monday into late Monday evening before things really start to dry out a little bit for us. So we've got, like I said, looking over the next 7, 8, 9, 10 days, we've got a pretty active pattern coming through. So let's kind of take a look at what it's going to mean in terms of precipitation timing and amount. And you're watching here an animation taking through the next 10 days of precip. Let's step this one back and kind of look at it piecewise here. Ready? Tuesday, here's our coastal low pressure system that's bringing in the bands of showers and storms, really focused mostly on parts of Northern California, Nevada, and Oregon to start off the morning. As we press throughout the day, some of that moisture does make it across the Intermountain West, bringing some snow in here to the Sawtooth and then getting over to Wyoming eventually. This is actually the beginning of the next big system we're going to be watching in the Midwest as well, where we're still dealing with quite a bit of flooding. So after that, as we get in to the evening hours of Tuesday into early Wednesday morning, we just have some remnant showers, mostly focused here in the Pacific Northwest as the next system takes aim here. This is now Wednesday evening, really Wednesday night, getting into early Thursday morning, such that by Thursday midday, our next big feature comes on shore. Now, this one's got multiple pieces to it. So we're going to see the deeper low sitting way out here in the Gulf of Alaska. But our first band of heavier precip comes through Thursday throughout the day. And then watch, this is now getting into Thursday night. Friday morning, we really get lashed on Friday morning here. A lot of precip that'll stretch all along the Pacific coast, except for down here in Southern California. And as this comes on, this is going to start off what'll probably be a pretty wet weekend. We'll get a bit of a reprieve on Saturday morning, but we'll have to watch to the west on Saturday afternoon, such that by Saturday evening, we had our next big push coming in. This is going to be north of the bay here, but getting into Northern California, Oregon, Washington. So you're seeing multiple chances here just through the end of this week of precip, and we're just not done. This is now Monday. Getting into Tuesday of next week, we still see that. Now, we're going to have to watch. We'll see how well the model's picked up on this. There's a bit of a break in the pattern that looks like it's going to come around April 9th, 10th, such that a pretty substantially large ridge might develop out here, in the Central Pacific, but really somewhere tucked just south of the Gulf of Alaska. Now, what that will do is that'll shut down that strong push of moisture directly from the west and start to make systems sneak down from the northwest. So they'll come around this big ridge. So they'll to hit British Columbia first and then slide south. So this is getting pretty far out in the forecast, but I'm going to show you what that pattern looks like. So see the next low on around the 10th, 11th, it wants to slide down from the northwest rather than coming straight across the Pacific. So this stronger jet stream we're going to deal with for about a week to 10 days, but then beyond that, we're going to watch for systems to kind of curl around a big ridge over the middle part of the Pacific Ocean. Still, all of this spells a very active pattern. So when I put it all together, just taking you out the next week, so we'll go all the way out to next Tuesday afternoon, evening, we see that along the coast, we're picking up anywhere between 2 and in some locations better than 4 or 5 inches of rainfall. This will, of course, be some higher elevation snow here, but you can really see the trajectory of the next several systems. They are coming straight out of the west on that strong flow, that strong zonal flow. Zooming in on Northern California, we can see that the Sierra Nevadas will be picking up quite a bit more snow, and they've already got quite a bit of snow on them, so this is going to be adding to the end of their season. But Northern California, if we just look north of the bay here, you know, we're going to be picking up anywhere between an inch and in some locations 3 to 4, possibly even more. In terms of total accumulated precip. Southern California, you're going to remain mostly dry. There is some chance at getting in some rainfall here, but we're talking about very, very small amounts overall. If we kind of zoom in on the Pacific Northwest, where we need this rain, look over here, the departure from normal over the last 30 days, we're getting it. So this is, that zonal flow is really putting in the moisture here along the Pacific coast. We're not going to make up fully the deficit that we have in place, but this is going to certainly help. And we are going to be packing some more snow in parts of the Northern Rockies and in the Sawtooth here. Let's take a closer look at those snowfall amounts. You can see, here in Idaho, just outside of the Snake River Valley, we have the chance at getting, at least an additional 10 to possibly some locations around 15 inches of snow, maybe a little bit more in some of those peaks. But much of the Northern Rockies picking up some additional snowfall. Of course, the Sierra Nevada picking this up, so are the Cascade Mountains. Blue Mountains here, not so much, and much of the Columbia Basin is going to stay snow-free simply because of the warmer temperatures. We do need this snow, though, in parts of Washington. You can see that's really only our location, Washington, northern Idaho, that is still in deficit as we get into the beginning of April here, looking at basin average snowwater content. And that has been a constant theme of ours throughout much of this winter. The rest of the mountains out west are, boy, they look good for this time of year on snowfall. Looking at week 2, like I said, with the calming down of that strong Pacific jet, we actually go back into a much more seasonable pattern here in terms of precip. In other words, I'm not finding too much in terms of a major deviation from normal. But still, I wanted to kind of give you that perspective on week 2. Now, let's talk about temperatures. This is interesting. We've been discussing how we're getting rid of this big ridge and we're breaking down this trough over, parts of the Hudson Bay. And we're certainly going to see that, but it doesn't mean we're going to go into a really warm pattern overall, at least lasting for a while here. So as I kind of click play, we're just going to see a parade of systems. See them over here coming into the Pacific Northwest all the way down to California. But you notice that once we get out to mid-month, I know we kind of played that fast here, but we see a bit of ridging that comes in. This is what shuts us down finally around, April 8th, well, really after April 8th. So we got to get into like the 9th, 10th, and 11th, kind of gets rid of that stronger onshore flow here. But you do see in general that the models are bringing in a pretty sizable ridge over Greenland. And as they do that, that just tends to displace a little bit of cooler air that comes south. And so we're going to get into mid-April and probably see a bit of a cool down. It's not going to be bitterly cold air, but just 4 or 5 degrees cooler than average, kind of sneaking in there once we get past about the 10th of April. And we can see that reflected pretty well in our temperature patterns. We're going to start off with a pretty warm pattern here, but you'll see the cooler flashes coming through California, Nevada, and Oregon. And that's primarily just every time we have a lot of cloud cover and precipitation coming through. So as I play this out, you're going to see that pretty well here. Let's just start that again. You can see that, when we get some cooler colors in there, that's really only coming in when we have quite a bit of cloud and precipitation. So like next weekend into early next week. But overall, we won't see the systematic cool down until we get to about the 12th when that broader trough sets up here. But just remember, we're now into mid-April. So when you see temperatures that are, 4, 5, 6 degrees cooler than average, this is not the bitterly cold air that we saw back in February and March. So just want to keep you up to date on what this pattern's doing. Get ready. We got a next 10 days that are going to be, wet. and that'll be the final push, I think, for our wet season as we kind of move toward our drier season once May starts here. By the way, tune in tomorrow. We'll have our new long range update that will talk about the weather throughout May, and even I'll give you a good look all the way out into summer again on my.nutrienagsolutions.com. But with that, I'll wrap up this forecast video. We at Nutrien Ag Solutions hope you look forward to our next Western Regional Forecast video coming out Friday morning. In the meantime, check out our other forecast products at my.nutrienagsolutions.com. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.